stringing those strings and flapping his wings. Here's a look at the brand new Super 7, the weirdest blood rock and roll vampire king. Peering through the slaying canines of a giant bloodthirsty bat felled with a possessed bat tar, blood rules over several groupies with a leather-clad fist. Descended from a long line of vampire royalty, Blood is the first to do it in style. With Blood, I expect his encore to be everlasting. Before we get a closer look at the brand new weirdest line of ReAction figures, once again I'd like to thank the folks over at Super7 that did provide this sample of blood that we could have a look at this review. Although he does have the little symbols above the O's, so I almost want to pronounce his name as Blood. Either way, let's grab the tape measure, see how tall the figure stands. And we'll also bring in Trasquatch, the figure we've already looked at in an earlier review. In the meantime, though, Blood stands about 4 inches in height. Actually, he's about 3 3/4 of an inch tall. And that works out to be about a figure that's 9.5 centimeters in height. Speaking of Trasquatch, were we speaking of Trasquatch? Yes, we were. Speaking of Trasquatch, let's just slide over Blood and bring in the earlier looked at Trasquatch, who in this case is clearly smaller than Blood. I would say he goes to about his lower jaw, the lower part of the at least fanged teeth that make up his head. Unlike Trasquatch, that came with Trash Squat. I'm here all day. The figure of Blood at least comes included with his bat tar. The bat tar is molded all here nicely in blue plastic. You can see it does have the bat wings down below here, and extended out from that is the neck, of course, that he's going to be able to hold with his hands. Without this, without the bat tar, I feel like Blood looks like he almost is asking for change. And anybody that's going to walk up to me with chompers this large, I'm going to be giving him anything I have in my pockets. But what you're going to do is you're going to take yourself the figure, and you're just going to drape the bat tar over top of his body. Technically, he comes out of the packaging already with the guitar in hand, but I just want to leave it off at least to show you guys that he does have it as technically a separate accessory. And then from there, you just going to slide the neck of the guitar a little bit further forward. It clips pretty well onto his hand, just like that. And then you can actually have him looking like he's stringing the guitar. Probably bring it a little bit further forward than what I had it earlier. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't really clip necessarily onto his body, so I would almost even recommend that if you are taking this guy first out of his packaging, you really don't even need to remove the guitar. I just decided to remove it for the beginning of the purpose of showing you guys that, once again, it was an accessory. Yeah, just going to put it into his hand like that, and then he's good to go. I don't know what he's going to have for the rest of his bandmates. Maybe we may get those for future waves of weirdest ReAction figures. Short of now the guitar that possibly I may have regretted now removing from his body. The figure does hold it quite well. And getting a closer look at his head sculpt, it looks like those plastic vampire teeth. Some of you may have been lucky enough to get in Halloween bags growing up. I think now for the sake of cleanliness and just sanitary reasons, I don't think many people are handing out plastic vampire teeth anymore, but you can still get them during Halloween. It literally just looks like his head is made of that. Unlike though Trasquatch actually does have eyes in between his chompers, top and bottom. And even though he is a large head figure, he still actually has, surprisingly, head articulation. You can move it back and forth. Getting around, though, his guitar, his body does have sort of a skeletal. I would imagine that to be his vest. And he has something similarly printed here on the back of the figure's body as well. The cape is made of sort of a softer plastic material, like the older figures in the 80s would have had. The cape, I would imagine, would be the means to be, you'd be able to probably remove it, but it would involve you having to take it down his arms, and I'm sure you would only rip the holes in the process. So unlike the guitar, which I took off at the beginning of the review, I'm not going to take the cape off. I'm going to leave it on for right now. I do like his silver gloves, though. It kind of reminds me of the Phantom of Paradise. Phantom of Paradise. What is that for a strange reference? Silver gloves, and he also has down below here silver boots. And like Trasquatch we looked at before, the figure does actually have peg holes on the undersides of his feet. I like this guy a lot. I think he's just a fun figure. I would love to also see them release this guy as a glow-in-the-dark version, because as of right now, while it's well painted, the fangs don't actually have the means to glow in the dark. I'm sure they probably could release these with kind of the greenish tinted glow-in-the-dark plastic, and these could be something that if absorbing enough of the lamplight, I'm sure this guy would be able to then glow in the dark if that's something that they could do down the road. For the figure's articulation, it's a little harder to do, of course, where he's got his bat tar in hand, but I'm going to do my best. His head rotates back and forth, standard ReAction figure articulation. He does also move his arms back and forth also as well, both sides. Just obviously doing that every single time you're going to do that, it's going to remove the guitar. Well, the guitar is then going to fall down his body. He does also have his legs. Those articulate back and forth also as well. And again, like 5 points of articulation, which is really all I need when it comes to these ReAction figures. It isn't so much the fact, the sell of the sets, sell of these figures, isn't so much the fact that they have lots of articulation. If you want lots of articulation, then there's always the Ultimates line. Like they're doing like the Worst, for example, figure line, which is similar in monster designs, just a lot more articulation. And I did free up, of course, a lot of space here. While he did come include with Trash Squat. I'm going to run with that joke for the rest of the day. Here's what he also looks like again with Trash Squatch. Fun-looking figures, though. Fun-looking figures. Limited on articulation, sure, but more than making up with creepy, cool-looking designs. Blood, or Blood if you prefer, is currently available as of right now over on Super7's website, along with the rest of the weirdest, at least Wave 1 figures. You can either buy them separately for $20, or you can get yourself the set of 3 for $60, and it's about the same price, obviously. But as of right now, at the time at least of recording this video, there's also a sale happening at Super7's site that I did mention in Trash Squatch review, that if you buy 3 ReAction figures, you can pick out one for yourself for free. That sale is as of right now happening, and I'll provide a link down below if you guys are interested to head on over to their site and stock up on ReAction figures you may have been looking to get as for part of your ReAction collection. As certainly it goes when it comes to blood here, while this one does benefit at least having an accessory, I would probably recommend, if you are looking to get this figure, when you first take him out of his plastic prison, just leave the bat tar where it is. Don't feel the need to take it off like I did in this review, because since removing it, it obviously doesn't sit on the figure's body as well as it did when it was first removed. It does fit into his hand, and of course then you can have the other bent elbowed arm sort of bracing the bat tar against his body, and it sort of helps to keep the guitar from falling off completely. The figure does also have a plastic cape, something also that Trash Squatch didn't benefit from. But again, as already mentioned, I would love to see this guy get released in a glow-in-the-dark version. Please make it happen, Super7. As those fangs look good now, I think those fangs would look even that much cooler if they could glow in the dark. What do you guys think of Blood? Or would you call him Blood, as he did have the little dots, little tiny dots above the O's? Either way, though, what do you guys think of the figure? Let me know down below in the comments section. And could you see yourselves picking up Blood for yourself? Once again, a big thank you to folks over at Super7 that did provide the sample of the brand new Weirdest Blood ReAction figure, as well as Trash Squatch that we looked at also in an earlier review. We are also going to be looking at upcoming Gorier, I think that is his name. We are going to be looking at him in an upcoming review. So if you guys certainly would like to stick around to see more, if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, and certainly as well turn on the bell notification. The review of Gorier, you can already imagine what he's going to look like. Sad state I'm sure he's going to be. But his review will be right around the corner, so make sure you're coming back with peepers always peeled. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.